In today's video, we're flying out to Vienna to see what really goes into pulling off a conference for the energy transition. We'll be closely following the team from the Energy Bridge as they try to bring their vision of a conference to life.
My inner child is so happy.
Getting the right mix of people in the room, from policy, academia and industry, to talk about energy security, AI and market integration. We'll also get an exclusive chat with some big names from across the political, academic and industrial landscape. Okay, so today we're going over to Vienna to meet with the team at the Energy Bridge to attend the conference they're putting on about the energy transition in Central and Eastern Europe. For the first time in months, maybe even a year. Mostly just attend rather than film anything. So that feels nice, feels refreshing.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
So right now we're on the way to meet the team that's hosting the event, the Energy Bridge team. Get stuck in and see what's going on behind the scenes to get the conference set up. But before we get there, let's sit down for a minute and have a chat about what this conference is actually about. So the reason conferences like this are so critical is because you need to get three key people or three key types of people in the same room at the same time to make change happen and bring the energy transition. Those are policymakers, so people in charge of legislation or with influence in legislation. You have innovators, so people building businesses, products and services around energy, production, transmission and consumption. And you have academics, so people researching and devising new ways to build technology. It's critical that all three of these stakeholders get in the same room at the same time to talk about how their work is being held up by each other's. So it might be that there's a company that's developed a promising new technology or approach, but the current regulatory framework doesn't yet accommodate how it would need to be deployed. In those cases, bringing businesses and policymakers into the same room isn't about lobbying for shortcuts. It's about helping policymakers understand what innovations are emerging, what barriers the existing rules might unintentionally create, and what evidence would be needed to adapt those rules responsibly. At the same time, academics play a complementary role. They're not just researching in isolation, they provide the independent data, trials, and peer-reviewed insights that both regulators and industry depend on to make informed decisions. When you connect those academics with the businesses that could implement their ideas at scale, you create a feedback loop. Research informs practical development, and real-world deployment challenges feedback into further research. In that way, the dialogue between these three groups doesn't just accelerate innovation, it shapes how policy evolves, ensures regulation keeps pace with technological change, and gives businesses a clearer, evidence-based pathway to bring new solutions into the energy market responsibly. So we're going to go and meet the team behind the conference now. I hope you don't mind, I'm recording a little bit of behind the scenes. Good.
Hey, nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. What's going on?
Nothing going on. It's all going on. We are just preparing the presentation.
So this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Guys, can you introduce what you do?
Now we are finishing the last details for the conference, last banners, last presentation, checking that everything is on to make the best conference. Yeah.
And I review everything.
You review everything. and what about you? What are you up to?
I landed today just from Rome, just to be part of this conference.
Amazing, awesome.
Yeah.
And you work on something very cool. Tell us a little bit about
Indoor photovoltaics.
You've probably heard of solar panels on rooftops or out in big fields. Inside those panels are photovoltaic cells. They're the parts that actually turn light into electricity. You might not know about indoor photovoltaics though, and they're pretty cool. Instead of harvesting energy from direct sunlight, these are special photovoltaic cells designed to work under artificial light, like the LEDs and fluorescents we use indoors. They're tuned to capture the specific wavelengths from indoor lighting and convert that into electricity. Right now, you'll find them powering small, low-energy devices. Think sensors, remote controls, wearables, or smart home gadgets. The big idea, though, is that instead of constantly swapping out or charging batteries, these devices can run off the light that's already in the room. It's not about huge amounts of power yet, but it's a clever step towards making our homes and workplaces more self-powered with way less battery waste.
And there, Gilbert, he worked on everything.
What do you work on?
Everything.
Now we're going to the venue to see final details with the technicians and try equipment.
Nice.
And the event is there in Wien Energy building.
Now tell us, what's special about the building we're looking at next to us?
We're looking at one of the oldest waste-to-energy buildings. It got renovated, I don't know when exactly, but there was a famous architect who said that I'm going to redecorate the ugliest building in the town.
So they used to incinerate waste there, is that right?
They used to burn wood, burn all kind of waste there. We need the transition from the ugly energy to the renewable energy.
Very symbolic.
Very symbolic.
The energy transition. This striking 100-Wasser designed waste-to-energy plant is still right here, turning Vienna's rubbish into heat and power. In fact, the Spittelau plant processes around 250,000 tons of household waste every year, generating green heating and electricity for the city. But what's really cool is that Wien Energy didn't just stop at running a power plant, they've taken part of this very same complex and turned it into something completely different. Just next door, in a renovated wing of the building, we're heading into ClimateLab, a dedicated space for climate startups, researchers, and organisations to come together, build partnerships, and shape what the future of this sustainable city is going to look like. And this is where the Energy Bridge is hosting their very first event.
It's for 60, you said, right?
60. There are exactly 60 chairs.
Exactly 60 people who arrive later.
So we can sit on maybe also
Yeah,
here. And we have another 10 chairs in
If
the,
in case if there's a full house later.
Okay, so
Over there.
My inner child is so happy. So happy.
So I've not just attended, I've even hosted many events in my life, like in Moscow and Lithuania and Nepal and India. But I've never seen such dedication towards behind the work. To be honest, this is the first time I'm trying to experience that. This is like first time where I'm going towards industry specific, like just select people and small gathering rather than a big house full event.
Niche, nice and specialised.
Yeah.
This is the Energy Bridge's first event they've hosted. Nice to see them kind of facing the excitement of their hosting their first event, but also the challenges that poses to get everything organised and face learning curves, but they're doing a great job. How's it going?
It's a mix of feelings, like nervous, excitement. Behind the scene is a lot of work and collaboration.
The lineup of speakers for tomorrow is, there's some big names on there.
Yeah, there are some big names.
How are you feeling about that?
We deeply believe that this conference can be a contribution for energy transition, but it's a big sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
To organize something in the eye of the guests. It's the feeling of nervous because the people who is coming, we want to deliver good. It's an experiment. I haven't attended a conference with this mix. We received more than 100 applications because it's an event only with invitation. And we selected some people from different areas to keep the balance. We deeply believe that these three stakeholders, sectors, they have to be together and work together, as you mentioned, moving in the same direction, right?
Yeah.
And particularly in our sector, it's so fast, the technology advancement, that, for example, policymakers cannot keep the track of the technology advances. So how to update and how to close the gap. This is the thesis behind the Energy Bridge, is to put them together, exchange knowledge, share fears, and with this equation, we deeply believe that we can contribute to accelerate energy transition. You are going to interview very cool people.
Yes, I'm excited. There's some big names.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a good venue, but it needed to be made into something what we want. I think I'm satisfied now. The panelists and the stage looks good. We still have enough space, so everything is going fine. Organization takes a lot of effort because you have to deal with other people. You need to just realize that they will deliver. They are experienced. They have been doing it for a while. They have done it multiple times, so they will deliver. and you just need to trust the process.
Letting go.
Yeah, let it go.
Techlaman has been a key sponsor for this event.
Yeah.
Talk about what role they've played in it.
Alexandra, who is the vice president for globals for them, she's also our classmate, a friend. They have been a key, not just sponsor, but also a support. I mean, it looks so cool. They have some models, which is about battery storage. These are all cool equipment.
What's something you didn't expect about the event planning process?
What I did not expect, which I just realized that there's someone waiting outside. And she's calling just now.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Do you...
That's the reality.
Yeah, okay. I'm sending someone.
Yeah, so what didn't you expect?
Yeah, we just saw what I didn't expect, things coming out of nowhere, and you just need to make sure that they're all getting delivered. None of me or Daniel are professional, let's say, banner making, marketing material making, but we have become one, I would say.
Yeah.
We are actually a bit overwhelmed with the support. We still have the event tomorrow, but we cannot be more thankful for people who came just because they believed. It's great.
Ultimately, you're trying to bring progress to the Central and Eastern European energy scene.
One of the key things when we were thinking about this conference was that this region, it used to be similar area. You had Yugoslavia, you had Austria, you have Hungary. They still have similar hierarchy, but their energy system is different. But there could be synergies between them if they have similar regulation. The second topic is about market integration. So we have a lot of non-EU states which are not integrated. We have a lot of renewable that we need to integrate it into the grid. So what are the problems? We have a lot of market design experts as the panelists. And the last and the final topic is about energy security. Most of the eastern part of this region has a lot of dependency on the fossils, and they need to leapfrog. And AI is going to be one of the important part of it. So we are also addressing that. Those solutions are way more important now in this region than in Nordics, for example, especially when your grid infrastructure is not so modern and you're putting renewables, more and more renewables there, then suddenly you need software solution to take care of that. So
Carry the load, yeah.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you. Rahul rejoined the team to get the finishing touches in place, and then it was time to get some rest before the big day. Here we are. Hi, I'm here for the energy conference upstairs.
Yeah, it's going.
What time did you get to bed last night?
Midnight, sharp.
Okay, not
To
too
the
bad.
sleep. Yeah, enough. You?
Yeah, about the same time.
Chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Okay.
So you're putting up some signs now, so people know where to go.
Yeah, exactly, because here is a kind of
Bit of
maze.
maze, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But at the breakfast you get it only 2 hours, so
The what?
that's the rush hour.
I'm gonna go and get changed. I'll see you in a minute. The team has started to arrive.
Good morning, good morning.
Amaya is the photographer.
Careful, careful. Aye.
What is it? Spicy?
Remove the straw, everything this straws. Yeah.
Okay. Who am I here with?
Hi, Marcus.
Marcus, what's your role today?
I'm from the ClimateLab. I'm doing social media and storytelling for the ClimateLab and all the stuff that's going on.
So that's the venue we're at today. In terms of content, social media wise, what do you normally put out for events like this?
The most important thing for us is the story and to show that a change is possible by bringing together people.
Yeah.
We bring together people from the economy, from the government, experts, scientists. And if they come together on one table, then a miracle happens. Then things become possible that seemed impossible before.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Whenever you're putting on an event for the first time, there's always this thing of how many no-shows you're going to get, because you can get 1 million people to say yes to an invitation, but the amount of people that show is often hard to work out, particularly if it's easy to sign up. So there's this kind of, you can kind of feel that there's always a bit of uncertainty as to how many people are actually going to attend, but I think it's going to be good. As people started to trickle in, I could feel the excitement rising, but with that, the nerves also, as Dan and Rahul gave their opening speech one last rehearsal.
Industry, academia, and policymakers have been separated for too long. We are very happy to have you here to share knowledge and learn together about energy transition in Central and Eastern Europe.
The event combined keynotes and panel discussions, and one theme stood out fairly early on. Building new energy infrastructure isn't just about technology or policy on paper, it's about people. It's winning hearts and minds, getting whole communities behind the change. And even when you do, the system isn't always ready. The politics aren't simple either. Some voices in government drive the transition forward, while others turn it into an ideological battleground. That push and pull shapes how far and how fast the energy transition can go.
Colleagues from the region, they struggle much more working with their constituencies, with their voter base to see this is a good future, this is an affordable future, this is a clean, healthy thing that will actually work. We also need to work on societal acceptance of the transition. The way projects are planned is extremely important, how participatory, how much community involvement, also in terms of community involvement, the integrity of the projects. In Austria, we will lose the work for hydropower if we go to the very last pristine alpine river. That will have a huge cost in acceptance and for a very marginal benefit in electricity consumption. So integrity or production integrity of the project. And I think a debate that has accompanied us a lot in the last years is electricity cost. We have to be better in assuring this cheap cost somewhere ends also on consumers' bills. And if we manage that, I think we'll do huge steps in acceptance. This is really a key issue for all of us to work on. We have 9 different permitting schemes in Austria. Austria is not such a big country, but 9 different permitting schemes. To come over that, you need a 2/3 majority at the national level. And so to build that will be a key question for the implementation of the Renewable Energy Directive 3 in Austria, because otherwise we have 9 different one-stop shops, 9 different goals for renewable expansion that don't actually deliver because there's so many loopholes. So there is a lot of details to work on in the actual implementation. Never underestimate there's different kind of policymakers. There's one part that's trying to make this transition an ideological fight. Our common task is to make sure that the rest of the political spectrum doesn't fall into this trap.
I've been working in Austrian, first in European and then in Austrian energy and climate policy for years. But I know that energy policy is never done in a national island. It's always about collaboration. It's always about networks, physically and regionally. And there's so much potential in the region that we share, from starting with big hydro projects along the Danube, but there's so much more potential that we can leverage if we collaborate. And that's why it's always good to look across the borders to your neighbors.
For people listening in that are intrigued about what's happening in Central and Eastern Europe around the energy transition, what message do you want to send out to them?
Speak up and speak up for a good energy future, because we're just in the middle of a time where there's a lot of forces that want to take us back to the fossil past, and we're powering ahead to a renewable future. And this needs a lot of allies, and that needs a lot of people who are fighting together for this big project. And so speak up and get engaged. And if you have a good idea, go with it and share it. Share it, even better.
In the second panel, the conversation moved beyond big ambitions and into the mechanics of how this transition can actually work. Martin Heissenberger pointed out that the region isn't all starting from the same place. Some countries are still tied to fossil fuels, while others are already experimenting with innovative technologies. It's a reminder that when we talk about Central and Eastern Europe, we're really talking about a patchwork of very different starting points.
We have completely different asset bases when we look at Europe, and we see that the coal dependency in certain countries is certainly higher in the southern region compared to other countries. When it comes to the issues monitor, we see a huge difference when it comes to the flexibility issue, and especially the digitalization topics. And we see that especially the Baltics are very advanced when it comes to utilizing digital technologies, also gathering data, analyzing data.
You have different actors working on the same implementation just from different angles, and you have to make sure that all of this lines up well in the end.
Also, we are waiting from European Union stakeholders to adopt the market coupling operators integration plan. So this is the plan that will actually describe and provide timelines how our countries will couple into the European market.
On the ground, though, projects are often held back.
In Austria and Germany, it's more about really getting the grid connection and really getting projects done and increasing also the permitting delays.
I like to think of interconnections as great flexibility providers. So they are part of a bundle of measures that we need to use to actually make the energy transition happening.
At the same time, panelists explored new ideas like hybridizing grid connections, using the same point for multiple technologies, combined with storage to squeeze far more capacity out of existing infrastructure.
This topic of hybridization, also using one grid connection for various technologies. There are ongoing discussions in Panama, for example, and the Dominican Republic to really make this mandatory to have hybridized power plants in the grid. So we see that this discussion is not only a place here in Austria and Europe, but this is a huge topic globally.
And to make investment worthwhile, financial tools like contracts for difference are providing developers with stability and visibility, giving them the confidence to build.
On one side, you want to incentivize the uptake, and we discussed that you can be better in one-stop shop for permitting, you can provide financial support, and this has been done in the latest amendments, setting out that CFDs and PPAs should be used. So, of course, providing financial stability and price visibility for capital-intensive assets, of course.
The message was clear. The region has huge potential, but unlocking it depends on cooperation across borders, smoother permitting, smarter grids, and frameworks that align ambition with action.
Everyone here is absolutely enthusiastic when it comes to energy, and everyone here is from different backgrounds. But in the end, we have one common goal: doing the energy transition, getting things done, and integrating our systems, our approach, and also our thinking into this European community, into Central and Eastern Europe. It's basically about getting rid of silos, getting rid of national borders, and really trying to come up with a common approach towards energy.
Why is it important for the Central and Eastern European community that they get involved and join this dialogue?
If you don't have a place at the table, you're part of the menu. And
say that again, that's brilliant.
If you're not sitting at the table, you're part of the menu. And if we're deciding and discussing about our future of Europe, the future of the energy system, the energy transition, then everyone who is interested and who has a stake in the energy transition should take part. And the best thing to take part is here at the Energy Dialogue.
In the third panel, the conversation turned to innovation and the realities that come with it. Christian Deindorfer opened with a reminder that new technology always follows a pattern.
There's this concept of the Gartner hype cycle. If there's a new technology, a new innovation, it gets a trigger, then expectations increase until the peak of exaggerated expectations. So this is when too much is expected from this new innovation. Then there's the graph of disillusionation. Everyone says, well, it's never going to fly. And then there's this path to enlightenment, and finally the plateau of productivity.
The discussion quickly moved from theory to practice. AI, for example, is already being used to model energy systems. It's a powerful tool, but only if we trust the models behind it.
We have, for example, research projects providing actually AI tools to what are actually the best solutions for the future, combining the least CO2 emissions with profitable energy prices.
That theme of trust came up again in vehicle-to-grid integration. The technology exists to let cars feed energy back into the grid, but progress with this is stalled because manufacturers hold back their data. Corbinian Kassinger suggested that external pressure may be the only route to unlock collaboration.
The most complicated part in terms of getting data and in terms of somehow ensuring interoperabilities in that context is the EV manufacturer. Because I guess these kind of stakeholders need some regulatory pressure to somehow release data, to somehow participate. And this is not defined at this point of time. But we are full of hope because I was reading through the program of our new government, and it was a very, very strong and bold bullet point that they're integrating everything which is required for vehicle-to-grid in the future laws, namely ELDK, for example.
Meanwhile, there are still massive bottlenecks.
Grid connection and certifications are a bottleneck right now. So I think 15 terawatts of power is just sitting in the queue right now across Europe because there are not enough electrical engineers to certify plants to be connected so they can start selling power to the TSO, to the DSO. And these kind of issues can be
eliminated or at least reduced.
Looking forward, the potential is staggering. AI and even quantum computing could transform how we forecast, optimize, and stabilize energy systems. But the panel's message was clear. Innovation only matters if we build the trust, the regulation, and the workforce to make it real.
We need to put more effort into accelerating this integration of renewable energy in these regions. So that is something that is currently happening, but we want to accelerate it because it's about time that we do something about the climate change. I think that's really key here to be able to, do a large-scale implementation of these solutions.
Across the day, the keynotes framed the big picture, from Leonore Gewessler's State of the Energy Transition to Reinhard Haas and Karen Mothel's Pathways for Decarbonising the CEE region. We heard opening insights from Wien Energy's Nicola Koffler and a sharp case study on regulatory hurdles from Tamara Cozy. Along the way, there was even a lively round of quickfire pitches from emerging startups, each sharing tools and ideas to tackle energy security, grid flexibility, and trading innovation.
People, the startups, they don't just do it to, make a big exit or make big money because they really believe in it. So it's something they can personally identify themselves with. And this is something you can see with all the pictures today. Energy in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years has increased in terms of transition, in terms of change. It has also to do with regulation and European Union policies. So a lot of things were happening. Also, if you take a look at venture capital, where it moved, actually moved a lot into energy. Because first of all, the market is so big. It's a critical infrastructure. Think about it. The whole society, the whole economy is built on energy. If we don't have energy, then nothing works actually. Exactly. The way we actually imagine it to work. Understanding the essentiality of energy for all other industries and sectors, this is something that surprised me because already before that I was into startups and tech, but only at the Chamber of Commerce I actually fully understood the whole picture for this.
Together, the keynotes and the panels painted a clear picture. The transition in Central and Eastern Europe isn't one story, it's many, woven from policy visions, market reforms, technical challenges, and bold ideas. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the day. It's been a great event, great speakers. There's now some drinks going on in the background. How has it gone?
Oh man, it was good. Yeah, some difficulties in the middle, but happy. Thank you.
While Dan and Rahul admitted they'd worried about a few technical hiccups during the presentations, the overwhelming feeling in the room was that their experiment had shown real promise.
I was very happy when I received this invitation because I saw the potential.
It's a very relaxed atmosphere.
This with very in-depth knowledge and discussions.
The energy that they had was brilliant.
Always interested to be there where something new is happening.
Bringing together academics, innovators, and policymakers, this event has sparked fresh insight, forged new connections, and left everyone with a stronger sense of alignment between their own goals and the wider ambitions of the energy sector. And this feels like only the start, as they plan to keep growing this network, supporting it through future events, ongoing media, and even a digital platform that's in development to help share resources and keep the community thriving. Whenever I go to an event like this, I'm always both inspired and slightly overwhelmed by all the technical richness that there is in compliance and regulation, all these facets of how the sector operates. In my own journey of building a business for the renewable energy sector, there's so much that I feel like I've only just scratched the surface of hearing from a lot of the speakers today. There will be more food for thought and topics that we'll look to explore with Clean Talk episodes going forwards as well. So there we have it. That concludes the event for today. Thank you for tuning into today's video. If you've enjoyed learning about the Energy Bridge, they've actually got their second ever conference on the 25th of September, which you can learn all about at the link in the description below. If you want to learn more about the Central and Eastern European energy scene as a whole, check out my interview here with Carsten Bharath, Executive Vice President of Business Development at P&E Group. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.